there, and welcome to Spoiler Piece Theater, the podcast that doesn't give a shit about spoilers. We just want to talk about the movies. My name is Megan Kearns. My pronouns are she, her. I write and podcast for In Session Film. I'm a co-host of the Slashers podcast, a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, and a member of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ Entertainment Critics.
My name is Dave Riedel. I'm a movie type yapper person. My pronouns are he, him, and I am also a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
My name is Evan Crean. My pronouns are he, him. I'm co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, co-author of Your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living, and co-host of the It's the Pictures podcast.
Yes, you are, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I took a very long pause because I thought somebody was going to say something. Anyway.
No, I got a case of the yawns tonight. I don't know the fuck is going on.
Oh, no. Wake up. I know, but I was yawning earlier too. But
Wake up,
hopefully.
Dave, man.
Nice one. I was going to say, hopefully talking about these three films will perk us all up. So we've got three movies and spoiler, one of them is indeed not Wake Up Dave Man, but Wake Up Dead Man. And then we're also going to be talking about the horror fantasy film Dust Bunny and the horror thriller sequel Influencers. So we're going to kick things off with Influencers, which is the sequel to Influencer. Surprise, surprise. And it is once again written and directed like its predecessor, written and directed by Curtis David Harder. And it stars Cassandra Nod and Emily Tennant, who are reprising their roles from the original film, as well as Georgina Campbell, who is joining this for the first time. And this had its world premiere at Fantasia Film Fest this year, and it won the Audience Award at the Brooklyn Horror Film Fest. And it's going to be on Shudder on December 12th. And let me give you the synopsis, and then we'll dig into it. This is from the Shudder press release. In the sun-drenched countryside of southern France, CW lives a quiet, idyllic life with her girlfriend Diane, hiding a dark obsession with murder and stolen identities. During an anniversary getaway, they cross paths with Charlotte, a bold, alluring influencer whose curiosity quickly turns intrusive. When CW acts on a violent impulse, the consequences spiral out of control, and as Diane begins to suspect the truth, CW's carefully constructed life threatens to collapse around her. So this actually opens with a completely different woman who later in the film we learn about her. Her name is Ariana, and we learn about her character, and she's an asshole. But the film opens with her, and she's freaking out because she's getting all these text alerts and social media alerts. And she goes to her house in Bali, and she slices her throat. And she's crawling on the ground in front of her pool to her ringing phone, and it says Catherine Weaver is calling, and that's who CW is. And CW we met in the first film, and last we saw her, she was stranded on an island because Madison, who she tried to murder, had I was going to say ran away in a boat and ditched her there. And so... Right. So then, after that opening with the knife on the throat and the woman are dying, it is quite an opening. It's a banger. We then see, this is then the synopsis that was given, in that we see CW, who now goes by Catherine, and we see her and she's living the life. She's saying hi to people. She's giving recommendations. She's taking recommendations like of perfume and food at these little cafes. And her and Diane have been together a year, and they're taking a weekend getaway. And then, Catherine starts getting very annoyed by Charlotte, who is a very obnoxious
in
influencer.
Catherine's defense.
Yes, in Catherine's defense. I know, I'm like, Catherine is a sociopathic murderer, but Charlotte's an asshole too. A lot of assholes in this movie.
Yeah, trying to steal her girlfriend, basically.
I know. And then when she finds out they're together, I say finds out in air quotes because she knew they were together. Right. She's like, "Oh, you're together? How cute! I thought you were sisters." Like, so annoying. And
two women who could not look less alike.
I know, right? And they do not act platonic at all. Like, it's absurd. So Charlotte keeps trying to crash their stuff. Like, Catherine says like, oh, we have a special date planned. And she's like, oh, well, I have this exclusive vineyard that we can go to and I'll get you in. And Catherine's like, nope. And then the next day, Catherine's waiting for Diane and Charlotte shows up and she's like, oh, well, we were texting all night and she told me that she did want to go to the vineyard, which we later find out is a lie because Diane was like, I told her I didn't want to go. I wanted to be with you. But that's too late because Catherine lures Charlotte in her quest for good photography and good pictures to a castle and where she shoves her off the ledge and to her death. She murders her rather quickly and easily.
Documents it with lots of photography.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, Catherine's got a little problem with, the whole taking trophies thing.
Yeah, I know. If she wasn't so obsessed with trophies, she probably could have gotten away with it for much longer. But so then Catherine and Diane leave. They go back home. But Diane finds all of her passports and fake IDs, and
she sees that Catherine's been like posting at Charlotte. She's continuing to post as her like she's done other people she's murdered.
Yes, just like she did to Madison. Yep. Yeah. Yep, like she did Madison in the first film. Absolutely. So she's like, what are you doing? What is this? And Catherine's like any good manipulator or toxic abuser, she's like, I can explain. And Diane, to her credit, is like, yeah, no. And she's like, you're the sociopath, because they've had this conversation before, kind of like jokingly. And she's like, you're a liar. I told you I don't like liars and I'm out of here. And you're crazy. And that is the trigger. And then Catherine decides she's had enough of that. And she hits Diane over the head, knocks her off her feet, and then strangles her to death. And which is horrific. I mean, it's just horrific, but we'll get more into that in a bit. But anywho, so then meanwhile, Madison has been trying to integrate back into society, but she's been a social pariah because no one believes her that she's not the murderer when she came back with 2 dead bodies in that boat. And she was describing CW and no one believes her because there is no digital footprint of CW because she's been covering her tracks for all these years. And so people thought she was lying and people thought it was her. And so she is convinced that CW is still out there and she's going to find her, and she does. And so she tries to track her down, and she goes to Paris, goes to the south of France, then goes to Bali too. And so Catherine goes back to Bali, and she ends up entangled with a gross couple, the woman who is an alt-right influencer, and then the guy who is gross as well and is ultra conservative and like toxic masculinity and talks about,
but kind of playing a personality that she is like goading him into playing, not necessarily stuff he even fucking believes.
Well, that's the whole cuck angle, right? So
it is. I mean, the fact that he goes along with it to me is just as bad as if he believed it. You know,
I'm not excusing him.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm just like, but I don't know. I do wonder if the film is trying to kind of let him off the hook, but I'm like, no, it's just as disgusting.
I mean, he dies in a pretty horrific fashion. Spoiler.
Good. So, I know. Good.
So I don't think they're letting him off the hook too much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're really letting anybody off the hook, to be fair. But no, totally. But yeah, so they're gross, and CW is trying to seduce him but like he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's like, I love my girlfriend, I don't cheat on her. And then she lies to his girlfriend Ariana and is like, yes, he's sleeping with me. And meanwhile, she is stealing files from their computer, and that's the cuck video that she finds, the sex tape, which goes against everything Ariana like preaches in her social media profile. So this is devastating. And then we come full circle to the beginning, and this is all the social media alerts and texts she's getting is about this leak. Yep. And then Madison shows up too. And then it culminates in a no holds bar, full on brawl between the two of them trying to murder the other.
And Madison physically gains the upper hand in the end.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And also make sure it's all streaming live. So then when CW wakes up from, I would say probably a good concussion.
Mm-hmm.
She finishes off Jared, the guy who Madison accidentally stabs in the stomach, and he's trying to help her. He's trying to help CW, thinking Madison is the murderer. And then she finishes him off, and then his friends show up, and she starts murdering them too. So
yeah. That's the end of the movie. She's literally just chasing after them. It's just like overhead shot of her chasing down this like gaggle of women and killing them one by one.
Yeah, but also she's aware she's being filmed, and there are constant messages in the chat where they're like, "Whoa, is that guy dead? Oh, good, he deserved it. She's hot. Does she have an OnlyFans page?" So very much a scathing satire of influencers and voyeurism in our society. So anyway, Dave, what did you think of this?
Oh, I thought this was kind of a hoot. I thought it was a little slow moving in places. I think there were some pacing problems. And I also think that I think one of the things that people like about Barbarian is the big tonal shift after, Bill Skarsgård gets ripped in half. From, being a kind of a straight up horror movie to this bizarro comedy. And this movie definitely takes a right turn into comedy with the alt-right guy, because he's impossible to take seriously. And also, as you learned, it's mostly a put on. He doesn't really believe any of that stuff, which in a way kind of makes it worse. But I think that CW is great. I had a little problem following it at the beginning because I had forgotten what Madison looked like. So when we're in the back of the car with Ariana and she's freaking out, I thought that was Madison, having like gotten back to the mainland in Thailand. And, I don't know if I thought, because she was well dressed, I don't know if I thought she was outside court or whatever, but that she was being like hounded by people being like, "No, fuck you." I thought she cut her own throat. And then it cuts to her in that podcast interview. I'm like, wait, who the fuck is this? And then I realized, oh, these are two different people. So
whoops.
And as much as I don't condone murdering people who irritate you, Charlotte was the most irritating character, and when and you can see the means of her death coming a mile away. When CW pushes her into that like open pit, whatever, at that castle, I was like, nice.
It's funny that you mentioned Barbarian too, because Georgina Campbell's in Barbarian as well.
That's right. That's right.
She's great in both. She's really great at being annoying here, and she's great in Barbarian.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, this movie has a lot more moving parts than Influencer did, I think.
For sure.
And in a way, I think it suffers from that a little bit, because I think that it's trying to, it's got a lot of things going on. It's got, Madison chasing CW trying to stay a step ahead of Madison, CW mourning Diane, even though she murdered her, going back to Paris and visiting all their old haunts.
Yeah.
And like daydreaming it. And then turning Diane into AI, the voice on her computer. By the way, do we ever learn what happened to Diane's body?
I don't think so.
Not specifically,
so.
Right? Yeah.
No.
And that whole thing is like super creepy, because I don't know what I thought. When CW first shows up in Bali and you hear Diane's voice when she enters the room, I'm like, well, that can't be, because I'm pretty sure she strangled her to death, which you don't actually see that she's dead until they do a flashback a few scenes later. And it's also interesting that they do give Catherine or CW, I should say, CW does get some sort of human characteristics, all at the wrong times, of course.
Yes.
Regretting murdering your girlfriend after you've, killed the shit out of her. Which, and some of the stuff was predictable. Like, you knew that Diane was going to end up dead and at CW's hands. And I think you knew that the whole right-wing influencer thing was going to fall apart. He was never going to be able to trap Catherine or Madison because he was just too stupid. So, it had its problems, but overall, I kind of dug it. I just thought, even though the pacing was a little weird, the parts that worked for me. And what is CW's real name in real life?
Cassandra Node.
I think that she's great.
Or Nod. I don't know if it's Node or Nod, but
yeah, I think she's really compelling in this part. And you kind of want to root for CW, even though she's fucking pure evil.
I know. I know.
So, yeah, it's a good time. There you go. I'm glad I watched it last.
Okay.
Instead of one of the other movies on this list.
Okay. We'll get to that, I'm sure. All right, Evan, what did you think?
I also had a lot of fun with this. I wished that I had rewatched Influencer before I watched this, not because I feel like it was too hard to follow. I just wish some of the details of it were a little fresher in my mind when we got to this. Because I really, really liked Influencer, and I really liked this. Although I agree with Dave about the pacing issues. And I think, I don't know if it's because it's too many moving parts, but I think this movie veers more toward fun and like light horror and comedic stuff and less on the social commentary. And I feel like the first one had a lot of really good social commentary in it and had a lot more to say. And this one, I feel like that kind of took a back seat. And so I feel like it wasn't quite as strong in that regard. But that said, it's still a lot of fun. Like, gorgeous locations, excellent score. Like, I really loved the score in this movie. That whole opening shot where it like dives down into the tree line with this car that's like just speeding away. There was some other like Google Earth shot that was like really awesome. There was some like really entertaining shot choices that I thought were really good in this. And the cat and mouse game between CW and Madison was entertaining. And when they were like going toe to toe fighting each other, that whole scene was incredibly entertaining. Like with the whole thing with the pool balls where she was like picking them up and like throwing them, and just all of that was just a blast. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else like specific that I have to say, but I just overall it was fun, and the ending was really silly with her like running and just killing people. Just like, fuck it, everyone knows what's going on, who cares, I'm just mad, I'm just gonna kill people.
Well, I kind of wonder if there's going to be a third one and what the angle will be on that one. I'm sure that what's his face, the writer director, has thought
Curtis
about that.
David Harder.
Thank you, because there's absolutely no way you have an ending of a movie like that and you're like, well, I'm done. So,
I think it'd be kind of awesome if he did, though. Just be like, yep, that's
it. that also wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, he's gone through 2 movies now of writing this character who he clearly is in love with. So,
I mean, I can't say I blame him. I mean, he's a queer director who makes queer horror films, and she is a fantastic queer villain. Like it's great.
I forgot that she was queer. I had is that even a plot point in the first one? I don't remember.
I don't know if it's a plot point.
Yeah,
I don't remember it well enough. That, again, another reason why I kind of wish that I'd rewatched it as like a refresher, especially to see some other elements, whether there was continuity or not between some of the things that were covered. But it still was fun. I had a great time with this movie. I was glad that I watched it, and yeah, it kind of made me want to go back and watch the first one again.
Yeah, the first one is such a gem, and it's really interesting because I feel like this sequel kind of came out of nowhere in the sense like I was not expecting a sequel to Influencer. And
right, me neither.
and it was great that this came out, and I love that this is shot on location. Bali is gorgeous. Paris is obviously gorgeous, and it's great seeing all the Parisian locations that I've been to, like the Louvre and Sacré-Cœur, and like, it's just so nice. So it was great, and they didn't do like the Alias thing of like, we're gonna film on a backlot, and this is Paris. It's definitely not. So, but yeah, no, I agree, and this does have surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because it's funny because this is my second time watching it, and I can't believe I forgot this. I had forgotten that CW kills Diane, because I think in my head I had erased that because it was so awful, because strangulation in romantic relationships is just so it's like another layer of horrific because it's so personal and like so intimate because you have to get so close. So it's common in like domestic violence murder cases that someone is strangled to death, which is awful. Anyway, so I think I blocked that out because it's just so awful. And I was bothered by that. And I almost wish she didn't kill Diane. But that probably would have humanized her too much. But I felt a lot of sympathy with CW. I felt really bad for her in this, whereas I liked her in the first one, but I didn't feel like bad for her. I didn't feel like sad, like, oh, she's a human. Whereas in this one, she really is humanized while still being diabolical, while still being, malevolent and has such a
conniving, sneaky.
No, yes, but not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is has such a desire, such a bloodlust for murder, and just kind of relishes in it and is clearly very good at it. My issue with the ending, as fun as it is that I kept thinking, and I was thinking this over and over and over, and I was like, why would someone who's so good at this kind of let it all go to just be really chaotic and really careless? But then I'm like, oh, well, one, she has a concussion, and two, she's just so pissed that someone's gotten in her way. So then I kind of loved that it descended into chaos, and then it kind of works. But I agree with you both. I think this is fun. I had a lot of fun watching this. I had a lot of fun rewatching this. Yeah, I like these. I like both of these. And I agree with you, Dave. I think Cassandra Nod is really great in this role. She's really good. And I think Georgina Campbell is excellent. Yeah, and it is really disturbing that CW turns Diane into AI and like keeps hitting, like I think of that scene where she keeps hitting the button on the computer where she says, I love you. And it's so sad. And it's like, oh, you need some serious therapy. And even then, I don't think that'll help you because you're just so murdery.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it is fascinating to me that she really she despises influencers, but not just influencers, influencer women so much. And yet she's a queer woman. Like, that's fascinating. And then I'm like, does she hate herself? Probably, maybe. And then, or is it just the influencer women? I don't know. But then she feels she needs to punish them and teach them a lesson. It's fascinating.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you guys have any other thoughts?
No, I'm all set.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I agree with you, Evan. I like the cinematography too.
So good.
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah. Oh, the other thing is I didn't weirdly have the pacing problems you guys did. I don't know why. Maybe I was just so like into it. I don't know. But I kind of liked that it was ramped up a bit with all those moving parts. But anyway, I could definitely see how that would, might be an obstacle. All right. Well, let's talk about our next film, another horror film, but this time a horror fantasy. We're going to be talking about Dust Bunny. This is from Brian Fuller. It's his directorial debut, but you might know him from Hannibal and Pushing Daisies and such TV series. And this stars Mads Mikkelsen, Sophie Sloane, Sigourney Weaver, David Dastmalchian, and Sheila Atim. And it had its world premiere at TIFF this year. and it's going to be in theaters December 5th, right? No, December 10th, December 12th. I don't know.
12th.
It's going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like 5th, 10th, 12th, sometime. Thank you.
We're getting faked out because they pushed the release date back.
Yes,
for
thank
us,
you.
at
That's
least. We were supposed
it.
to review this like a week ago, and then
Thank
they're like, "Wait,
you.
hold on, next week." We're like, "Okay, we'll do it next week then."
Okay, thank you. That's why I have in my notes that it's the 5th. I'm like, wait, that's wrong. Okay. So, and here is the synopsis from the press release. 10-year-old Aurora has a mysterious neighbor who kills real-life monsters. He's a hitman for hire. So when Aurora needs help killing the monster that she believes ate her entire family, she procures his services. Suspecting that Aurora's parents may have fallen victim to assassins gunning for him, the neighbor guiltily takes the job. To protect her, he'll need to battle an onslaught of assassins and accept that some monsters are real. And oh boy, are they. So the movie opens with a little animation of little like dust bunny tumbleweed rolling along, gathering more dust bunny-ness to it, and then forming a cute little bunny under a bed. And but yeah,
like
Aurora, yes, but it's still really cute. But yeah, Aurora is utterly convinced that there is a monster, and you see floorboards moving, you hear growling, and her foster parents end up disappearing, and she is convinced that this monster bunny has murdered them by eating them. And she's also convinced that this monster bunny has also eaten her biological parents and previous foster parents. So, Mads Mikkelsen as interesting neighbor in 5B. He's intriguing neighbor and he's in the apartment 5B. But yeah, in the credits, he's intriguing neighbor. And yeah, so she sees him and she follows him, and she sees that he kills a dragon, like a shadowy dragon. But he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I kill real people. But she's like, no, you kill monsters. I know you do. And this is a real monster. So they end up together a lot, and because she's alone, she has no parents, and she is utterly convinced about this monster. And she's like, you're going to believe me. I'm telling you, there's a monster. And yeah, and the whole rule is you can't touch the floor. And so people are like, oh, is it like lava? And she's like, no, it's the monster, and the monster will eat you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's the rule. You can't touch the floor. The monster will eat you if you touch the floor. And yeah, and then as the film goes on, it very much becomes kind of like a, Monster Bunny under the floorboards meets John Wick taking care of a kid. And then we eventually see there is indeed a murderous monster bunny that is enormous under the floorboards of her bed. Yeah, and so that's what this is about. So Dave, what did you think of this?
Do you really want to start with me?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
I hated this so much.
Was it the precocious child?
It was the precocious child. It was the, and she was also an asshole. There's that too.
Oh.
She was just like a shitty kid.
How is she a shitty kid? Yeah, I don't know that. How is she a shitty kid?
Okay, maybe I just don't like her vibe. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just didn't see her as shitty. I thought she was sweet. So I'm curious.
Show your work, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only reason that I think that maybe you two think she wasn't so shitty is because her foster parents were even shittier than she was. So they were like, there's no monsters. Sorry. I'm not coming in to help you with your fuck you or whatever. I mean, he does it with a smile on his face. But so it was the precocious child. It was the fact that I couldn't understand anything Mads Mikkelsen said. And I don't think that's because of his accent. I think that's because of the sound mixing is just like, I found the dialogue to be really muddled, except of course for Sigourney Weaver, who's very crisp. And she is the one part of this movie that I truly enjoyed her performance. Because I was just like, I've never seen her do this before. This weird sort of gleeful malevolence, so I liked that. I hated this is like everything I hate about Jean-Marc Jeannot times 100. This is just the fucking huge colors and the sets and everything, cranked up to, a million. I just don't like fairy tale. I don't like fantasy. Like, I just don't like it. So, to also have, this is also all the things that I hate about Terry Gilliam and in the movies of his that rub me the wrong way. Like, this is the if I ever have to watch Baron Munchausen again, fucking whoever puts that movie on is going to have to go into hiding. So,
so no Time Bandits for you then.
Time Bandits is okay because Time Bandits is kind of like weirdly realistic is not the right word. So let's just say practical. It's like those horses are running through that bedroom, that like where this is just all such, it's just the artifice and the fucking everything cranked up to 11 and the fucking rabbit, which is, from the beginning is her rabbit, so I just hated it. I hated it. I fucking hated it. I almost turned it off after a half hour and sent you two a text and was like, well, I'm totally going to be on time tonight because fuck this. I'm not watching it. And then I thought, you know what? I'm sure it's going to get marginally better, which it did. The ending was not nearly as horrible. The last 30 minutes were not nearly as horrible as the, hour and 15 minutes that came before it. But I just like Mads Mikkelsen looking like he wants to fall asleep the whole fucking time. It's just like, come on, the fuck is this? God, now I'm glad I never fucking watched Hannibal because if his sensibility carries over in any way, just I'm sure it doesn't because that's all like murdery and psychological and whatever. But
yeah, it's pretty gory and goopy and like
yeah. And I also just didn't like the supporting characters. I didn't like the FBI agent. Like I liked her performance. I didn't like the character.
Yeah, Sheila Team's a great actor.
Yeah. And I liked when she was like, oh, is that because the floor is lava? Like you mentioned earlier, Megan. And she's like, no, it's because there's a monster. And she's just like, okay. And she just gets off the floor. I kind of like that detail, but otherwise, this is just a fucking slog. This is like the worst of Delicatessen and what's the second one called? Midnight's Children? No, that's fucking
City of Lost Children.
City of Lost Children. Jesus Christ. And A Very Long Engagement. This is all just those movies combined, but worse. I fucking hated it. If you two loved it, I'm sorry.
Amelie.
I don't remember Amelie well enough.
No, I just mean
mostly
because
I think I blocked it out.
Yeah, like the artificial style that you're talking about.
Yeah, his whole I like good production design. And and when I say fantasy, I don't mean fantasy like, sword and sorcery fantasy.
Yeah,
I just
you don't mean
this
the
sort
genre,
of elevated, this sort of elevated realism, I guess maybe you would call it, or magical realism. I just hate that shit. So, so sorry, listeners. This movie is probably not the movie that you should listen to my opinion on because I would have hated this no matter what kind of mood I was in. So,
okay,
it's also just a shitty movie, but it's fucking dog shit.
I think that's debatable because
it is. People fucking love it.
I was like, you've only heard one of the three of our opinions on that, so we don't know. Maybe we'll all agree that it's a shitty movie. We'll see.
I mean, people seem to really be liking this, so
people do. People do, yes. But yeah, no, I don't think you have to apologize for your opinion just because you have every right to not like it. Yeah, you're entitled to hate it. Evan, what did you think?
Take everything and make it the complete opposite.
I knew it.
I think I was predisposed to love this movie as a big fan of Brian Fuller and Hannibal and his collaboration with Mads Mikkelsen in that. But I fucking love this movie. I had a feeling that I was going to, and I would start watching the movie and I was like, yep, I'm in it. I love the art direction. Like, chef's kiss. Like the building that they're in, the style of architecture, the painting, like the details, even down to like the overhead shots of the stairs. You can see that there's snakes painted on the stairs. Like,
yes,
so many rich details. So many rich colors. I realized fairly early that I was like loving the movie when he was fighting the dragon in Chinatown, and he's fighting the guys, in the dragon costume with fireworks shooting everywhere, and you're also seeing like the shadow dragon on the wall in part of the fight. So I was like really into that. I loved the score for this film. I was like really, really into it. I thought that the girl was great, and I think she had great chemistry with Mads Mikkelsen. Like, I liked their scenes together. I also loved Sigourney Weaver. I think she was just terrific in this. Loved every time she was on screen. I loved at the end when she had those like shoe revolvers that she was firing at the monster before it gobbled her up. I love that the monster actually was real. And it did gobble like everybody up, including Mads Mikkelsen. He like had to douse himself in the thumb sucking deterrent liquid to get the monster to spit him out. And I don't know what else more to say. Like even like when Mustachio David Dastmalchian shows up like at the restaurant, and they're like, we did just sit down to eat here. We're trying to eat our dim sum. Like, can you just like come back later? Like, we know you want to like talk to us, but like go away. That was all like super entertaining. Like all the restaurant scenes, like the fact that when they're at dim sum, they've got these little like rabbit dumplings that they're eating. Just, I don't know, just all the details of it. All the care that went into it, the production of it. I was about it. I liked the light in the chicken's butt. Like a lamp on this lamp. Table. Yeah, with like the chicken's butt light. That was just such a weird detail to include in a movie. So, yeah.
There are a lot of weird details that are never explained.
Yep.
Which very much reminds me of a lot of weird 80s movies where there's just weird elements and they're never explained. They're just there. Right. They're just part of the world building.
Yeah. I'm thinking specifically of Savage Steve Holland in his two movies, Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer. There are lots of weird details in those movies that are just like totally unexplained and like non sequiturs and things. I don't think this is that true. Operating on that level of weird, but it's certainly marching to the beat of its own drum. And I think you're either going to be on board with that or you're just totally not going to be about it. I had a feeling, Dave, you might struggle with The Precocious Child, but I didn't realize that you would find the rest of it so detestable.
Yeah, really. You mentioned how much you love the score. Just like when you said that, I was just like, you're hurting my soul, Evan. The score drove me crazy. So
I just felt like it ratcheted up the tension, like specifically in that one scene I can think of where they're leaving the restaurant and they're like going back to the house, and there's like the group of people that are just like trailing them through the alleys and the streets, and you see them just kind of like pause and all stand there in silhouette at like the end of the street. I thought the score was like super effective during that scene in particular.
I can think of one shot I genuinely liked in the final shootout when I think the woman did she have white hair? Was her hair like bleach blonde or something? Or
yeah,
one
of
David.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was reaching for the doorknob and then you saw her shadow and she had like a claw hand. And I was like, oh, nice touch. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Why is this movie trying to have it both ways? The monster's real, but she's not a monster, but her shadow's a monster. Like, and then the end with the fucking, like the car is like the rabbit on the high, like just kill me. Anyway, Megan, Evan, were you going to say more?
No, I was going to say, I suspect that Megan is on a similar wavelength, but I'll be interested to hear.
Wait, to who?
To me.
Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't. When Dave was like, it's a piece of shit, you're like, I don't know about that.
No, even if I thought it was a piece of shit, I hesitate to call something a piece of shit only because I think something is, it doesn't mean everybody's gonna think it is. So, but yes, that is partly because also not all of us have shared. So I don't know, but yes, no, I don't think it's a piece of shit. I can see why this didn't work for you, Dave. Though I can see why this wouldn't work because this is a very particular style and it is very heightened in its fantasy. It's not grounded in reality in any way, shape, or form. And it really does ask you to kind of go on that journey with it. And I thought this was incredibly charming. I liked Sophie Sloane as Aurora. I mean, I don't think any of us don't, but I love Mads Mikkelsen so much. I mean, he's incredible in every single role. I think he's great here. Kind of reminded me, it's not nearly as good as this film, but it reminded me of Riders of Justice and how that kind of found family and his reluctance to kind of have a found family in that way, and kind of like his reluctance to have that here. I will say I think the film's a bit repetitive in how Aurora is constantly trying to convince him the monster's real. And so some of their conversations are a bit redundant. But aside from that, I thought this was really charming and weird and quirky. And I really liked it for all of the reasons you said, Evan. I like the performances. I love the attention to detail. I liked the production design. I liked the lighting. I liked its weird otherworldly fantasy realm. Yeah, I found this sweet and charming, and I kind of liked that the monster at the end, the monster is a raging murderer because he's hungry. But yeah, I kind of dug that he was like, just like a regular like cat or dog, even though he's a bunny. But he doesn't act like a bunny. But I like that he was like rubbing up against her at the end. I don't know. It kind of, and this is a very different film, and it's one of my favorite films, but it kind of reminded me of The Babadook in that the monster is always with you. The monster is a part of you, and then you carry it around wherever you go. So I liked that element of it too, that they can't escape the monster because the monster is part of her. So yeah. So I liked this.
Yeah.
I thought this was a sweet film.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the interaction between them reminded me a lot of The Fall too. That definitely was. I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
some of their interactions. That. Yeah.
I very much got, but without the pedophiliac erotica of The Professional. Like how she wanted to watch and she wanted to be a part of his like murder.
Yeah, here, you want to help me wrap this body?
Right.
I thought that was. I think I LOL'd at that moment.
Yeah. So not creepy like The Professional, but similar kind of like buddy vibes, like But I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for a grumpy parental figure and a precocious child. Very much The Last of Us. Very much, so many stories and films. I'm here for that. So.
Oh man. What planet am I on? Oh well, I'm glad you two enjoyed it.
It's a sweet film. What can I say?
It's a sweet film where a rabbit
that's
made
driving
of dust
you crazy
chomps a lot of people to death. Yes.
Yeah. It's weird. I'm here for it. I like weird.
Yep.
By the way, the precocious child, here's what I can say about why. You know how some people just really hated Haley Steinfeld in
True Grit?
True Grit. And I liked her performance in that. It worked for me. And I kind of feel like, sometimes you just hate a performance,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just
sometimes
didn't
it rubs
like
you the wrong way. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like that character. So therefore I don't like the performance. So, anyway.
All right. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we move on?
No.
Not this guy.
All right. Well, let's talk about our third and final film, Wake Up Dead Man, which also has murder in it. So all three of these movies have murder, as does our Patreon movie. Yeah. So Wake Up Dead Man is a whodunit murder mystery. It's the third in the Benoit Blanc Knives Out series written and directed by Rian Johnson. And this is yet again a stacked cast. It's got Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Andrew Scott, Kaylee Spaney, Daryl McCormick, and Thomas Hayden Church. I was like, holy shit, Thomas Hayden Church. This had its world premiere at TIFF earlier this year, and it's in select theaters as of November 26th. It's going to be on Netflix December 12th. So here is the synopsis from the press release. Benoit Blanc returns for his most dangerous case. When young priest Judd Duplessis, what a name, is sent to assist charismatic firebrand Monsignor Jefferson Wicks, it's clear that all is not well in the pews. Oh, God. After a sudden and seemingly impossible murder rocks the town, the lack of an obvious suspect prompts local police chief Geraldine Scott to join forces with the renowned detective to unravel a mystery that defies all logic. Okay. So the film starts off with Reverend Judd, and he's written a letter to Benoit Blanc, and he's basically detailing the whole preamble to how he came to this parish. And he used to be a boxer, and he ends up hitting another reverend because the reverend's dick, apparently. And
great scene, Jeffrey Wright.
I know. Yeah, I was going to say, Jeffrey Wright says, like, hey, we all agree with you, but, you got to kind of have some penance. So we got to send you away to another parish. So he goes to his other church, and he's like all ready to be like, yeah, I'm going to, gonna make a difference, gonna be here. And yeah, Monsignor Wicks is an absolute asshole. He is mean to Judd, and he is mean to his parishioners, and he is ruthless at berating people and driving them away. So basically it just comes down, months and months go by, and it gets an increasingly smaller group of people that kind of worship him like a cult of personality, this figurehead. And yeah, and they're all kind of got their own quirks, and yeah, and then the Monsignor gets murdered in the middle of mass, and because he's like off to the side in like this little kind of cubby area of the nave, and and then everybody thinks it's Reverend Judd because they clashed and they had problems. And so Benoit Blanc comes in, and he's there for the case, but he's not there for the letter. And it's like, wait, what's going on? And it's, later you find out the letter was because Benoit Blanc wanted Reverend Judd to write the letter he could get all his thoughts out and get all his, hopefully jog his memory and get all the details out. And they have lots of discussion about religion and faith. And Benoit Blanc is not religious at all, doesn't believe in that. And so they kind of debate religion and morality and all of that too. And yeah, and then the mystery unravels. And I'm sure we'll talk about who is the killer as we have the conversation. So Evan, what did you think of Wake Up Dead Man?
I had fun with this. I don't think that I liked it as much as Glass Onion. I may or may not like it more than the first Knives Out. I did go back and rewatch the first Knives Out a couple of weeks ago because Max and I were talking about the Knives Out movies on It's the Pictures. But yeah, I think this is still fun. I mean, I love Rian Johnson as a writer-director, and I really enjoy this series, and I enjoyed Poker Face quite a bit. So I think he knows how to write a good mystery and, to follow a, tried and true formula, but, put together this really stacked cast of awesome people who play really well off each other. And I think this is fairly consistent in that regard. I was not a fan, though, of the whole letter voiceover thing. I think that just went on for way too long. And too much of the story.
30 minutes.
Too much of the story was it was like 30 minutes before we get to the murder. So I think the letter / voiceover, there's too much, and B, it takes way too long to get to the murder. And so that was kind of disappointing. But in the meat of the story, I was really enjoying Josh O'Connor, his performance, and also his character, like the way that he grapples with being a person who is also a priest and like trying to like serve the mission and serve the people of the parish, but also being like a flawed person who's got like a bad temper and like can only put up with so much shit from Josh Brolin. Like when Josh Brolin is like, I'm gonna need to confess, and let me tell you in graphic detail about every time I masturbated since the last time. Like I probably would have want to slug him too for that. Like he's such a dick. He's so mean.
He really is.
And so I kind of get it. And I was enjoying his performance quite a bit. I liked the supporting people. Like I always like when Glenn Close shows up. Kerry Washington, fun. Thomas Hayden Church, criminally underutilized in my opinion. And
here or in general?
In general, but also here. I feel like we didn't get enough of him. Same thing with Jeffrey Wright. I was really glad that he was here, but I feel like I didn't get enough of him. Not that I feel like narratively it would have made sense. I just selfishly like Jeffrey Wright, think he's hilarious, and think he would have been funny if we saw more of him in this movie.
He's such a good actor.
Yeah. And so, I dug this. I still think Glass Onion for me is the peak in terms of like meshing the cast, the mystery, and just the overall just kind of like pacing and editing and all of it together in a way that just like totally works for me. So fun, but not quite as fun as the last one.
All right. Dave, what did you think?
Well, Evan is incorrect. This is the second best Knives Out movie after the first one. I think Glass Onion is kind of a slog. I think that's not a slog. That's not quite right. I really dislike Edward Norton's performance in that. So it's really hard for me to...
That's fair.
It's just kind of... I just think it's bad. I think it's... I don't think a really smart person does very... I think it's hard for smart people to play stupid people convincingly. And I think he has that problem. This one I found the actual mystery itself. I also didn't love the mystery from Glass Onion. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't hold my interest the way the first one did. I think that maybe has something to do with the fact that Glass Onion, not Glass Onion. Fuck, I always call them Glass Onion. Knives Out, big, huge. Movie theater experience, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, Glass Onion, I gotta watch it on like Netflix for this. All right. Whereas this time I was used to it. Plus, I was also, Megan and I had this conversation a week or two ago about who's Josh O'Connor, and she's like, "Well, you've seen him in this movie, and this movie, and this movie." I'm like, I have no idea who the fuck this guy is.
Yeah.
And
He's
so
all over the place.
Yeah. And then I was watching this movie, and I'm like, God, this Josh O'Connor guy is fucking great.
Yeah, he was great in this in a way that he wasn't in that other movie we saw where he was the art thief. Like, I just feel like maybe it's the character, maybe it's the performance, but he's really great in this.
But I just think that, you in a movie like this that has like a central mystery, but it's also supposed to be kind of fun, you really run the risk of having a character who's too broad or too one note, or just doesn't seems like a cartoon character instead. But this is like a real person, and of course, part of that is the writing, but a lot of it is his performance and the humanity he injects into it. And when Glenn Close says to him as she's dying in his arms, "You're really good at this," I was like, yeah, he really is good at this.
Yeah, he is good. Yeah, he's great. Like with the whole scene with Bridget Everett, I thought he was really amazing.
And that's a lovely scene.
Yeah, and I was also just so thrilled to see Bridget Everett, just one of my favorite comedians, and also I think she's really terrific in that show Somebody Somewhere. So it's like, yay, Bridget Everett. But again,
is that the phone call about the parents?
Yeah.
I didn't love Josh Brolin in this, but I think that you're supposed to hate him.
Yes.
And now I know that Megan doesn't love Josh Brolin, but
Nope.
I just didn't think he was very good. I think he's kind of the weak spot in this, actually. I also think that in the other two movies, the side characters all seem to have larger roles, whereas in this movie, there's only I feel like Kerry Washington is barely necessary in this. And
Yeah,
it's
I hear
and
that.
Jeremy Renner too, for that matter. The fact that he ends up being, kind of part of the murder plot is almost incidental, because he's just a non-person for the rest of the movie, whereas Glenn Close is, doing a good Glenn Close weird sort of kind of villain thing. And I think that she is fan-fucking-tastic in this. And I loved, when I don't actually really have an opinion on the voiceover. I did find it, when we get to the part where Blanc is like, all right, well, you just write a letter. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a letter. So I was like, this, okay. Or Blanc told him, because you see Blanc reading it at the beginning, but I really loved the edit when Father Judd was going through all of Martha's jobs at the church, and right when he said organ, it cut to like a huge of her on the giant church pipe organ. That just made me laugh out loud.
It was very funny.
Speaking of organs, the one part that made me laugh out loud is when Benoit Blanc starts playing Phantom of the Opera on the organ.
That was
I
funny.
was like, that is great.
Yeah. So I just had a lot of fun with this. I thought the mystery was pretty good, although they did take their sweet time getting to it. And I also loved that, in keeping with, I don't know what the Choose Your Own Adventure connection is in Glass Onion, but of course in Knives Out, it's that the murder victim is Harlan Thrombey, and there's Who Killed Harlan Thrombey, the 9th Choose Your Own Adventure book. And this one, the church is in Chimney Rock, which is the 5th Choose Your Own Adventure book, is Mystery at Chimney Rock. So
that's the first
nice.
one I ever read, was Mystery at Chimney Rock.
I think that's the first one I read too.
Get out!
And it's a freaky fucking book. If
That
you're
is
like
a doozy.
10 years old,
Yes. I read that. I think I was 10 when I read that. Yes. Get out of my head, Dave.
So, yeah. So I really, really enjoyed this. And I was just like pleased to be watching a movie at night on my sofa under a heated blanket. And it was like, it feels like a movie, even though it's, you're watching it on a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just really well done. So there you go. And definitely better than Glass Onion, Evan.
Alrighty then. See how it is.
Well, I was going to say, I think you're wrong, Dave, actually. I think this is not better than Glass Onion. Sorry.
Yeah, I know you and I are big fans of Glass Onion, so I thought you would probably be on my side.
Yeah, I'm on your side.
Let me qualify that. I don't know that it's necessarily better than Glass Onion, but I did enjoy it more than Glass Onion.
That's fair. That's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
I didn't love the whole like tech millionaire and all these rich assholes. And whereas this one, it just kind of felt like more grounded in a strange sort of way. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. But aside from that, I'm going to be the outlier because I loathed this. I could not stand this from start to finish. And I will say, I'll start with the positive. I adore Daniel Craig. I adore him as Benoit Blanc, and I've said it before and I will say it again. Give me 50 more of these. Even if I don't like it, give it to me because I love him in this role and I think these are fun and I love a whodunit. It was similarly to the ridiculously awful Kenneth Branagh, Agatha Christie films. Give me 50 more of those. Those are not good. I don't care. I love them. I think they're so fun. Yeah. Where these are actually well made. I want to be clear. I think these are well made. However, and I think Josh O'Connor is great too. I think I love him in Rebuilding. That's my favorite performance of his of this year. I do think he's great in The Mastermind, even though there are some issues with that film, but I think he's great here too. I don't like this. And this is a big personal one for me. There's way too much religion, which I know sounds crazy because it's taking place at a church and we have a reverend and we have a monsignor and we have churchgoers. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand it. I was like, I don't want to talk about religion anymore. I'm sick of watching these church proceedings and masses. I don't want it. I will say I love the conversation that Benoit Blanc has where he's talking about his problems with organized religion. And I was like, yes, I love this. This is great. So I found that interesting. But yeah, I had two theories and one of them was, Glenn Close did it. And that was pretty early on. And then, like, really early on. And then I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe Josh Brolin isn't really dead. And then, because I was like, why do we keep talking about the crypt? And the whole crypt thing and about the door and the opening from the inside,
Right.
what I had thought was that there was like a tunnel between the crypt and the little kind of cubby where he gets murdered. And so I thought Glenn Close was like moving through the tunnels or something, or set something up in those. And that's not the case. And then I was like, okay, maybe she's not the murderer. Maybe, you know, Josh Brolin is alive and he's framing people to so he can fake his death and escape, and with the money. So I was kind of like, I don't know. So, and then I was like, oh no, it is Glenn Close. But I do think Glenn Close has had a really weird turn in this part of her career.
Yeah.
And like
For
with
sure.
some really strange roles,
Some
and
real
really
stinkers.
bizarre acting choices. And I think she's quite good here. It's kind of nice to see, you know, back to form of what Glenn Close can do and how great she is. But yeah, no, this just did not work for me. I kept being mad at this film. I was irritated. I was bored. I was mad. But I love Benoit Blanc. So yeah. But I know I'm the outlier. I know people really enjoy this, but yeah, not for me. For me, Knives Out, the first one's the best, and then Glass Onion, and then this is like way below.
Yeah, you know, I tell you, normally the religiosity of a movie would drive me insane, but I think that this movie went to great lengths to explain the difference between, and I'm an atheist, I'm just saying this as I'm saying this as an atheist.
Totally.
The difference between, you know, what, if you believe in the teachings of Christ, what they actually mean, as opposed to what they've been twisted into. And also, I'm pretty sure, though, it sounds to me like Rian Johnson was raised with some sort of Christian faith, and as an adult, he's kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
I think it was not evangelical, but it was something. It wasn't Catholic, but yeah.
But it sounds like somebody who knows all of this stuff, but is like,
yeah,
I'm pretty far removed from it now. So, you know, anyway, so that's how I took it.
Yeah, no, he picked Catholic. He wasn't Catholic, but he picked Catholic because he liked the churches better because they're prettier.
They are prettier.
He said, I know, because he said the churches that he went to looked like Pottery Barns.
Yeah, they do. Like churches built in the 70s and 80s in the Midwest, they look like a very large home, you know?
Yeah, which is weird because I'm used to them being like Catholic churches, so they're very, very like grandiose. But yeah, it's funny, Dave, what you're saying, because I agree with you. I do think this film goes to great lengths to do that and to show the difference between zealotry and manipulating, like using religion to manipulate people to gain power and what you want, which is not at all what it's supposed to be about. So I totally agree with you. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I love First Reformed. That's about religion. Like, you know what I mean? And there are a lot of movies that I like that deal with religion. I don't know what my problem is with this. I'm going to have to sit with it more. But it just, I don't know. Maybe I was in a bad mood. Who knows? But it rubbed me the wrong way. But I will say, I agree with your point. And Evan, I also really love that scene on the phone with Bridget Everett. I think that's a lovely, lovely scene. And I actually do like the scene that Josh O'Connor has with Glenn Close too, where he's taking her confession. And I think that's quite good too. So yeah, overall, this did not work for me at all, but there are really great moments. Okay,
I'll allow it. So
thank you, sir. I'm glad
you're welcome.
I'm glad you approve. Do either of you have any other observations or thoughts on this that you want to talk about?
Not this guy.
I laughed because there was that scene where Daryl McCormick is with Josh Brolin and he's like, we could build an empire together, and like,
yes!
as like father and son. And I turned to Shauna and I said, oh, he's going Darth Vader. And then literally the next thing is like, Star Wars? Yeah, like the Rebels. And you're just like, ugh.
I know. And he's like, you could tell his face. He's like, not the Rebels.
But I love that was expressed via dialogue because it was just, I'm just like, oh my God, that's so funny. It was so self-aware in that moment.
I know, because so many people just don't seem to get it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But that was a great. I know. I thought I'm like, this is like Star Wars. Yeah, I will say I do appreciate a lot of the pop culture references that Rian Johnson inserts into this, as well as the other Knives Out, Knives Outs.
Yeah, but
all right.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? All right, so let's do a recap. So Influencers is on Shudder. I think it's safe to say we'd recommend it, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all three of us. Dust Bunny is in theaters now, and I think it's safe to say, Evan, you and I would recommend it, and Dave, absolutely not.
This is the hardest of hard no's.
Yeah. I'll grow an extra thumb to compensate for Dave not recommending.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, I know that was, yeah. Anyway, and Wake Up Dead Man is in theaters as well as on Netflix now. And I'm gonna let you guys answer yourself. Would you recommend it? I'm gonna assume yes, but would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would recommend it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, and I would say no, but you're going to probably watch this. If you like these, you're going to watch it anyway. So, but I would say watch Knives Out and Glass Onion again, but that's just me. All right. So want to tell you about our Patreon because I forgot to at the top of the show. We had a really fun time talking about this week's bonus episode. We talked about Black Angel, 1946 noir. And so go check that out if you're a patron. And if you're not, consider joining for $5 a month because you get access to our weekly bonus episodes and our back catalog of bonus episodes. And we want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor piece, Heather Sachs. Heather, thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
And while we're giving out thanks, we, of course, have to thank our editor, Otto Clammer. Otto, thank you so much for all you do for us.
Yeah, thanks, Otto.
Thanks, Otto.
And you can find Spoiler Piece Theater anywhere you get podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We are at Spoiler Piece on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Letterboxd. We're all over the place. Come say hello. Let us know what you thought of these movies. You can also email us, spoilerpiece@gmail.com. If you like the show, consider rating and reviewing us. It helps us get the word out, which is great, and we really appreciate it. You can go to ratethispodcast.com/spoilerpiece, and it will take you to your preferred platform of choice, or you can rate us directly on Apple Podcasts. And if you really, really like the show, in addition to becoming a patron, of course, you can also get our merch at our website, spoilerpiece.com. You can find our store. We'll take you to our TeePublic store where we have all kinds of goodies. And it's the holiday season. So, shop for yourself, shop for your friends, loved ones, shop for podcast goodies. So you can get them there.
I think you can also buy people Patreon subscriptions. So if you know someone who would like a Patreon, subscription to Spoiler Piece.
That is a great gift idea, Evan. Thank you for that, because that's a good idea. You don't know what to get somebody, get them a podcast Patreon subscription. That's a good one. And we always have fun, wacky conversations over on Patreon. So go check all of those things out. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Megan Kearns. I write and podcast for In Session Film. I am also a co-host of the Slashers podcast, a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, and a member of Gallica. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at OpinionS World, or on Instagram and Letterboxd at TheOpinionS.
My name is Dave Riedel. I'm a movie type yapper person. I'm a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, and I'm on Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads as Dave Sees Movies, and I'm David M. Riedel on Blue Sky.
And my name is Evan Crean. I am co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, co-author of Your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living, and co-host of the It's the Pictures podcast. You can follow me on social media as Real Recon, and that's real as in film reel.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.